I'm Ron Schutz. I blog, I write books. I've been in the financial services industry for over 5 decades, which equates to today about 110,000 hours that I've been at this. I hope you find each of these videos informative and thought-provoking. My goal was to make them educational. I hope I achieved that objective. Thank you for watching. So, who should we thank for getting us into this spend without, as my teenager did with their clothing allowances? Well, number one is FDR with the New Deal, and that's where the government really took over and took a big piece of the involvement in the economy. He added 1,048% of GDP. So think in terms of, instead of one pizza, he stacked a whole series of pizzas on top of it and said, the government's going to control this. And then President Wilson in World War I, he ran up the tab to the rate of 727% of GDP. And then Reagan, although he tried to have economic growth, the Congress in the Democratic side kept raising taxes. And largely, it was because Reagan was pushing for defense increases that ultimately sank the communist regime. But again, there was an imbalance between those mandatory and discretionary expenses. So he got 186% of GDP for the deficit. And then Bush 43 had his war on terrorism in Afghanistan and Iraq. He hit 101% of GDP. And then Obama, he had a recession that he dealt with, but his shovel-ready economic stimulus failed. It just wasn't thought out, it wasn't ready, but he ran up 74%, and currently he has the record that he added the most dollars to the debt of $8.5 trillion. Our current President Trump might exceed that at this time with COVID. That case is yet to be decided, but that's those whom we want to thank. And what I find interesting is, it doesn't matter which party you were in, both of them did similar things. So again, I think we got to fence in our government some way or portion. Now, I found this quote, and I thought this was a wonderful way to judge what I call financial freedom. It's the ability to do what you want, when you want it, with whom you want, for as long as you want, and it pays the highest dividend that exists in finance. In other words, you're not beholden to anybody. You decide where you want to live, who you want to spend time with, what kind of vacations you want to take, and for each of us that can be different. A friend of mine just spent thousands and thousands of dollars on a TV because they like sports and really like to look at close things. I had sticker shock. I personally could not spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on a TV. I'm sorry, it doesn't have the marginal utility for me. But that's a judgment call, and I was not in any way trying to be critical of that person. It just, each of us has our different priorities. So, we've been talking about how everybody deserves to know how money works. We really want people to make good decisions on how they have clarity about money, and working together, our desire is to provide confidence for every financial decision you make. Those are our core values. That's what we try to do with all the people we're privileged to work with. Thank you again for taking the time to listen to these tapes. I hope they were beneficial to you. I encourage any kind of level of communication that you care to give.